You weren't just a child, you were a mirror. You learned to reflect their moods, their shame, their silence, their rage. You absorbed pain that didn't start with you, but stayed in you. And they called you mature when what you really were was disappearing. You were the calm one because no one else knew how to be. You became the listener because speaking up made things worse. You were the stable one so they could fall apart. But every time you reflected their emotions, you lost access to your own. That wasn't empathy, it was emotional erasure. Your personality became a collage of their expectations, while your truth faded in silence. You stopped speaking up because it cost you too much. Love, safety, belonging. So now, even as an adult, you tremble when you tell the truth. You soften your pain. You downplay your needs. Not because you want to be quiet, but because your body still remembers what happened last time you weren't. That voice in your head that says you're not enough, you weren't born with it. You inherited it. Someone else planted it in your chest and repeated it until it sounded like your own. And now you call it instinct. You call it discipline. You call it reality. But make no mistake, self-hatred is not your voice. It's your inheritance. And the hardest part, you didn't even know it was self-hatred. Because when the society rewards your shame as humility and praises your self-erasure as strength, you start to believe that disappearing is noble. You called it being realistic, being mature, but really, you were just adapting to a world that taught you love must be earned and worth must be proven. Philosophers warned us, the self is not born, it is built in response to who the world permits us to be. They hurt you, but you stayed loyal. Because you were taught that love means suffering well. You called it forgiveness. You called it maturity. You said they did the best they could. But deep down, you defended the one who broke you, so you wouldn't have to face that no one came to save you. That wasn't love. That was survival confusion. You weren't allowed to grieve. Not the loss, not the silence, not the goodbye that never came. So you froze, and now years later, your body still holds funerals for things you were never allowed to mourn. That's why you cry during commercials, why nostalgia stings, why your chest aches when nothing's wrong. That's grief without a ritual, pain with no permission. The most dangerous question is the one you still whisper in your dreams. Why didn't you protect me? Why didn't you see it? Why didn't you stop it? Why did you let me carry all that pain alone? You've buried this rage because it felt disloyal. But that rage is not disobedience. It's your truth begging for a witness. You learned that love came with conditions. Be good, be useful, be easy, be small. And if you couldn't, they pulled it away. So now, even in love, you're calculating your worth, performing, bracing, proving. But love that must be earned isn't love. It's emotional labor with a smile on top. There's a child inside you who never stopped waiting, not for revenge, not for an apology, but for protection, for softness, for someone to finally say, you shouldn't have had to carry all that. So let me ask you, if they could see you today, would they feel safer or more alone? Because healing isn't just for you. It's for the child who lived through what you're still trying to forget.